New York City never truly sleeps. Long before sunrise, millions of lights still burn across Manhattan's towering skyline. Beneath the calm glow of office windows and street lamps, a city prepares for another ordinary day. Yet on this particular morning, hidden somewhere among these streets, a chain of events has already begun, one that will soon shock America and dominate headlines around the world. As dawn breaks over Manhattan, business leaders gather for an exclusive corporate conference. Luxury vehicles arrive one after another, carrying some of the most influential figures in American finance and industry. Security appears routine, and the atmosphere is calm. But among the crowd moving through the hotel entrance, danger may already be much closer than anyone realizes. Across the street, a solitary figure stands motionless. Hidden beneath a hood and surrounded by the anonymity of a busy city, the individual watches silently. Surveillance cameras record countless pedestrians every day, but few attract attention. At this moment, no one knows whether this person is merely another passerby or someone preparing for something far more sinister. The city awakens. Commuters flood sidewalks, taxis crowd intersections, and coffee shops fill with customers beginning their workday. For most New Yorkers, it is simply another morning. Yet amid the routine chaos of urban life, countless paths intersect without anyone realizing that one encounter is about to alter the course of an entire investigation. Shortly after sunrise, a prominent corporate executive makes his way toward the conference venue, respected, influential, and widely recognized in business circles. He appears focused on the day's events ahead. Cameras capture nothing unusual. Security personnel remain relaxed. But within minutes, this ordinary walk through Manhattan will become the center of a nationwide criminal investigation. As crowds move through the city streets, one individual blends seamlessly among them. There is no panic, no visible urgency, and nothing to suggest criminal intent. Yet investigators would later spend countless hours analyzing these exact moments, studying movements frame by frame, searching for clues hidden within a crowd that initially seemed entirely ordinary. Time seems almost frozen. Pedestrians continue their conversations. Traffic lights change. Office workers hurry toward meetings. No one notices anything unusual. Yet history often changes in a matter of seconds. In this brief moment before chaos erupts, the city remains completely unaware that a major criminal event is about to unfold before countless witnesses. Suddenly, confusion spreads across the street. People begin running, seeking safety and trying to understand what has happened. Emergency calls flood dispatch centers. Witnesses struggle to make sense of the scene unfolding before them. Within moments, what began as a normal morning commute transforms into a rapidly expanding crime scene, drawing immediate attention from authorities. Police officers arrive within minutes, securing the area and establishing a perimeter. Detectives begin documenting evidence while forensic teams carefully examine every detail. Streets that were crowded only moments earlier now stand largely silent behind crime scene tape. Investigators understand that the first few hours are critical. Every piece of evidence could determine whether this case is solved. Newsrooms across the country interrupt regular programming. Anchors receive fragments of information while producers scramble to verify facts. Social media begins spreading reports faster than authorities can respond. As details emerge, viewers quickly realize this is not just another local crime story. The incident is rapidly becoming one of the most closely watched investigations in America. Across the United States, millions of viewers wake up to startling headlines. Television networks provide nonstop coverage while social media platforms explode with speculation and reaction. Many struggle to comprehend how such a shocking act could occur in one of the busiest and most heavily monitored cities in the world. What happened this morning is no longer a local story. It has become a national obsession. Veteran homicide detectives arrive at the scene, fully aware of the immense pressure that accompanies a high-profile case. Every decision they make will be scrutinized by the public, the media, and government officials. Their task is simple in theory but difficult in practice. Reconstruct the truth from fragments of evidence scattered across a chaotic and rapidly changing environment. Forensic specialists methodically examine the crime scene. Photographs are taken from every angle. Evidence markers begin appearing across the sidewalk. Each footprint, surveillance angle, and witness statement could prove crucial. Investigators know that criminals often leave behind traces they never intended to reveal, and finding those traces may be the key to identifying a suspect. Inside a temporary command center, investigators begin reviewing hours of surveillance footage collected from nearby buildings, businesses, and traffic cameras. Modern cities are covered by thousands of lenses, creating a digital record of daily life. Somewhere within those countless hours of video, detectives believe the answers are waiting. The challenge is finding them before valuable time slips away. Then comes the first breakthrough. A surveillance camera captures an individual whose movements immediately attract investigators' attention. The image is far from perfect, but it provides something the investigation desperately needs: a direction. Detectives now have a potential lead to pursue. For the first time since the incident, the investigation begins moving forward with renewed urgency. Law enforcement agencies across New York coordinate a massive search effort. Maps, timelines, and surveillance images cover command center walls. Officers work around the clock, tracing movements and identifying possible escape routes. Every hour matters. The longer a suspect remains unidentified, the greater the challenge becomes. Detectives know they must move quickly while the trail remains fresh. Outside police headquarters, reporters gather in overwhelming numbers. News helicopters circle overhead while television crews compete for updates. Every new detail becomes a breaking story. Public interest reaches extraordinary levels, creating pressure on investigators to provide answers. Yet experienced detectives understand that solving a case requires patience, even when the world demands immediate conclusions. As rumors spread, concern grows throughout the city. Many residents begin questioning their sense of security. If such an event can happen in a highly visible public location, where else could it happen? While investigators continue their work, fear and uncertainty become powerful forces, shaping public perception long before all the facts are known. Piece by piece, detectives reconstruct the suspect's movements. Surveillance photographs are compared, witness statements analyzed, and timelines refined. What initially appeared to be random actions gradually begin forming a pattern. The investigation is no longer focused on isolated clues. Instead, investigators are assembling a detailed narrative of events leading up to and following the crime. Despite growing evidence, one major question remains unanswered. Who is the individual captured in the surveillance footage? The face remains concealed and personal details are unknown. Investigators are chasing a shadow moving through one of the largest cities in America. Yet with every new piece of information, that shadow becomes slightly more defined. The investigation expands beyond physical evidence and enters the digital world. Cybercrime specialists analyze electronic records, communication patterns, location data, and online activity. In modern criminal investigations, digital footprints often reveal what traditional evidence cannot. Investigators hope technology will provide the missing pieces needed to transform suspicion into certainty. Attention shifts toward the suspect's possible route away from the scene. Transit stations, transportation hubs, and surveillance systems are examined in extraordinary detail. Investigators retrace movements minute by minute, attempting to determine where the individual went next. Every successful reconstruction brings detectives one step closer to understanding the full scope of the operation. As evidence accumulates, federal agencies join the investigation. Resources expand dramatically. Information is shared across jurisdictions, and law enforcement personnel throughout the country are briefed on developments. What began as a local investigation has evolved into a nationwide search, demonstrating the significance and complexity of the case. Behind closed doors, detectives conduct dozens of interviews. Witnesses recount what they saw, heard, and experienced. Some observations appear insignificant at first, yet even minor details can transform an investigation. Detectives compare accounts, searching for consistency and identifying contradictions. Every interview offers another opportunity to uncover information hidden within the confusion of that morning. Online discussions reach extraordinary levels. The case dominates social media feeds, generating millions of comments, theories, and reactions. Some posts contain useful information, while others spread misinformation. Investigators must separate fact from speculation. In today's connected world, public conversations can influence investigations almost as much as traditional media coverage. Days of relentless work finally produce another critical breakthrough. A newly discovered piece of evidence connects several previously unrelated clues. Suddenly, investigators gain a clearer understanding of the suspect's movements and possible intentions. Momentum shifts dramatically. What once appeared uncertain now begins pointing toward a specific direction, energizing the entire investigative team. Evidence suggests the suspect may have traveled beyond New York. Investigators broaden their search, tracking movements across multiple states. Transportation records, surveillance systems, and digital data are analyzed together. Each new location adds complexity to the investigation, but it also provides additional opportunities to identify the individual authorities are desperately trying to locate. Inside law enforcement briefing rooms, discussions become increasingly focused. Investigators believe they are narrowing the list of possibilities. Tactical teams prepare contingency plans while intelligence analysts verify every detail. Years of training now converge on a single objective: locate the suspect and ensure the operation proceeds safely and professionally. Undercover officers begin monitoring locations linked to the investigation. Long hours pass as teams quietly observe and document activity. Surveillance work rarely resembles dramatic movie scenes. Instead, it requires patience, discipline, and attention to detail. Detectives understand that one observation, no matter how small, could ultimately determine the success of the entire operation. Then comes the moment investigators have been working toward. Evidence, surveillance, and intelligence converge, identifying a potential suspect. The discovery does not end the investigation, but it changes everything. Detectives now possess a tangible target. The focus shifts from searching for answers to confirming evidence and preparing for the next critical phase of the case. Inside a secure operations center, law enforcement leaders gather for what could become the most important meeting of the entire investigation. Surveillance reports, intelligence summaries, and tactical plans cover the table. Every detail is reviewed repeatedly. One mistake could endanger officers, civilians, or the integrity of the case itself. After weeks of investigation, authorities believe they are finally ready to act. After an intensive nationwide manhunt, investigators announced the arrest of Luigi Mangione, the man authorities alleged was responsible for the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The arrest brought an end to days of uncertainty and launched a new chapter in the case. While investigators considered the operation a major breakthrough, prosecutors still faced the challenge of proving their allegations in court. As news of the arrest spread across America, public attention shifted from the search for a suspect to the legal battle that would soon follow. The arrest dominates news coverage across America. Networks interrupt scheduled programming to report the latest developments. Anchors describe the operation while analysts debate its significance. Newspapers publish special editions. Social media erupts once again. Yet, despite the dramatic headlines, investigators remind the public that an arrest is only the beginning of the legal process. The nation responds with a mixture of relief, curiosity, and skepticism. Some believe justice is finally within reach. Others question whether all the facts have been revealed. Families discuss the case around dinner tables. Employees debate it at work. Everywhere people gather, conversations return to the same subject. The case has become part of the national consciousness. While public attention focuses on the arrest, investigators remain immersed in evidence. Every document, digital record, surveillance image, and forensic finding must withstand legal scrutiny. Detectives know that successful prosecutions are built not on headlines, but on facts. The evidence collected over countless hours now becomes the foundation upon which the entire case will stand. Federal prosecutors begin assembling their legal strategy. Witness statements are organized. Timelines are refined. Courtroom exhibits are prepared. Every argument must be supported by evidence capable of surviving intense examination. The burden of proof is significant, and prosecutors understand that public opinion alone cannot determine the outcome. The courtroom demands something stronger: verifiable facts. Despite the arrest, many questions remain unanswered. Investigators continue examining details that do not fit neatly into existing theories. Some witnesses recall conflicting accounts. Certain actions still seem difficult to explain. The deeper authorities look, the more complex the story becomes. Solving a crime is one challenge. Understanding every motive and decision behind it is another entirely. One of the most difficult questions concerns motive. Why would someone allegedly commit such a highly visible and consequential act? Investigators analyze financial records, communications, personal writings, and behavioral patterns. They search for explanations hidden within years of history. Understanding motive may not change what happened, but it could help explain why it happened. As details emerge, public debate intensifies. Legal experts appear on television discussing evidence and procedure. Journalists analyze investigative decisions. Online communities develop competing theories. Some arguments are grounded in facts, others rely heavily on speculation. In high-profile cases, public discussion often becomes nearly as significant as the investigation itself. Eventually, attention shifts from investigators to the courtroom. Reporters gather outside before sunrise. Cameras line the streets. Spectators wait for entry. Inside, legal teams prepare for what may become one of the most closely watched proceedings in recent memory. The investigation has reached a new stage, where evidence will be tested under the rules of law. The courtroom becomes the focal point of national attention. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, journalists, and spectators fill every available seat. Jurors understand the enormous responsibility placed upon them. Every word spoken inside these walls carries weight. For the first time, the evidence collected throughout the investigation will be presented in a public forum. Prosecutors begin outlining their case. Surveillance footage, forensic findings, timelines, and digital records appear on courtroom displays. Jurors carefully examine each piece of evidence. The presentation is methodical and deliberate. What once existed as scattered clues collected across weeks of investigation is now assembled into a narrative intended to explain exactly what happened. Outside the courthouse, security measures increase significantly. Officers monitor crowds while barricades separate media personnel from the public. The visibility of the case attracts attention from across the country. Authorities prepare for every possibility, determined to maintain order while allowing the judicial process to proceed without disruption. Witnesses take the stand one after another. Some recount events they observed directly. Others provide information gathered during the investigation. Their testimony adds human perspective to the evidence already presented. Jurors listen carefully, evaluating credibility, consistency, and detail. In many criminal trials, witness accounts can prove just as influential as forensic evidence. Surveillance footage returns to center stage. Attorneys analyze specific moments frame by frame. Investigators explain how certain images were obtained and verified. Jurors observe details that might otherwise go unnoticed. The footage serves as a silent witness, preserving moments that investigators believe are essential to understanding the events under examination. Specialists are called to explain technical evidence. Forensic scientists, digital analysts, and investigative experts describe methods used during the case. Complex concepts are translated into language jurors can understand. Their testimony helps bridge the gap between raw evidence and meaningful conclusions, providing context that may influence critical decisions. Beyond the courtroom walls, reporters continue broadcasting developments in real time. Millions follow every update. Analysts interpret testimony almost immediately after it is delivered. The trial becomes a daily national event. For many viewers, the proceedings feel less like a legal case and more like a defining chapter in contemporary American crime history. Across the country, people follow courtroom coverage with remarkable interest. Families gather around televisions. Travelers watch updates in airports. Office workers monitor live streams between meetings. The case has transcended geography, becoming a shared national experience. Few criminal proceedings capture attention on such a broad scale. Behind closed doors, defense attorneys work late into the night. Every witness statement, forensic report, and procedural decision is reviewed. Their responsibility is clear: challenge assumptions, identify weaknesses, and ensure the legal process remains fair. Regardless of public opinion, the defense plays a vital role in testing the strength of the prosecution's case. While the trial continues, speculation remains relentless. Social media users analyze testimony, compare theories, and debate possible outcomes. Some discussions are thoughtful and informed, others are driven by emotion. Investigators and attorneys largely ignore the noise, focusing instead on evidence that can withstand scrutiny in court. For the detectives who led the investigation, the trial represents the culmination of months of work. They remember long nights, dead ends, and moments of uncertainty. Looking back, they understand how close the case came to remaining unsolved. Yet they also know their role is not to decide guilt or innocence. Their responsibility was to uncover facts. Amid discussions of evidence and procedure, it is easy to forget the human impact of the case. Families, friends, colleagues, and communities continue living with the consequences. Memorials serve as reminders that beyond headlines and legal arguments, real lives were permanently affected. The emotional cost of crime often extends far beyond the immediate event. Even after months of investigation and courtroom testimony, questions about motive persist. Investigators revisit notes, documents, and interviews searching for deeper understanding. Human behavior is rarely simple. Sometimes the reasons behind a crime remain partially hidden, even when many other aspects of the case have been explained. Public opinion becomes increasingly divided. Some view the evidence as overwhelming. Others remain unconvinced. Debates continue on television, online, and in everyday conversations. The case evolves into something larger than a criminal investigation. It becomes a reflection of broader discussions about justice, evidence, media influence, and public trust. As proceedings move forward, attorneys continue presenting arguments and challenging testimony. Court filings grow thicker. Legal motions become more complex. The path toward a final resolution proves longer than many expected. High-profile cases often unfold over months rather than days, demanding patience from everyone involved. The story attracts global attention. News organizations from around the world cover developments and analyze their implications. What began on a Manhattan sidewalk has become an international story discussed across continents. The reach of modern media ensures that significant criminal cases rarely remain confined to a single country. As proceedings near conclusion, investigators conduct one final review of the evidence. They revisit critical decisions and examine the path that brought them to this point. Whether the outcome ultimately satisfies the public or not, they know they pursued every lead available. Their work is largely complete. Some criminal cases fade quickly from memory. Others leave a lasting mark on society. This case changed conversations about security investigation techniques, media coverage, and public perception. Its legacy extends beyond courtrooms and headlines, influencing how future investigations may be conducted and understood. Even after years of scrutiny, certain mysteries remain. Not every question receives a definitive answer. Some details are lost to time. Others remain open to interpretation. Such uncertainty is common in major criminal investigations. The pursuit of truth often reveals complexity rather than complete certainty. As Manhattan's lights stretch toward the horizon, the story reaches its conclusion. Investigators, attorneys, journalists, and citizens all played a role in shaping the narrative. Yet beyond every headline lies a deeper lesson about justice, accountability, and the search for truth. The city moves forward, but the events of this case will not soon be forgotten. Thank you for watching this investigation. If you enjoy in-depth true crime documentaries that explore real cases, complex investigations, and the stories behind the headlines, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Crime News. New true crime stories arrive every week, bringing you closer to the facts, the mysteries, and the pursuit of justice.